We're back with a new, inspiring, and motivating story. Stay with us to see how my father, the king, reacted in a completely unexpected way. Here is my story, and what did happen with my father.
The king and his son. In a vast kingdom, under a clear blue sky, lived a noble king, Aethelred. He ruled with fairness and mercy, and his people loved him deeply. But one worry troubled his peace, his only son, the young Prince Osric. The boy was brave but proud, quick to anger, and slow to listen. The king feared that pride would blind him to true wisdom. Thus, he prayed for a way to teach his son the true meaning of strength. Every day, Prince Osric trained with the knights in the royal courtyard. He shouted commands and rode his white horse with fierce, careless pride. The people admired his courage, but whispered about his fiery temper. King Aethelred, watching from above, felt both pride and deep concern. He yearned for his son to learn quiet patience and gentle compassion, for wisdom, he knew, is greater and stronger than bravery alone. That evening, King Aethelred summoned his old and trusted counselor Eldred. The sage bowed low, his robe the muted color of deep forest leaves. "My son must learn the true hard path of wisdom," the king said heavily. Counselor Eldred nodded gently, his aged eyes bright with understanding. He promised to teach the prince through humble experience, not just formal lessons. King Aethelred felt a spark of hope return to his troubled heart. The next morning, Counselor Eldred met Prince Osric in the royal garden. He found the prince swinging his sharp sword under the soft morning blue sky. "Strength," the sage said calmly, "is a beautiful gift, but reason must always guide it." Prince Osric frowned proudly. "I need no lessons in weakness or delay." The sage smiled gently. "Then come, and the greater truth will show itself." Curiosity, more than true respect, led the young prince to follow. They quietly left the palace walls and journeyed through the country landscape. Prince Osric saw hard-working farmers toiling under the bright golden sun. He watched a simple shepherd share his meager meal with passing travelers. "These people have little to call their own," the prince said thoughtfully, "yet they smile." The sage replied, "For they know the peace of service, not the burden of pride." Prince Osric said nothing, but his sharp eyes softened at the sight of their contentment. For many days, they visited humble villages and met the common folk. Prince Osric helped lift a fallen cart and brought cool water to thirsty children. He began to truly understand the quiet joy of serving others first. The sage said, "A true king serves his people before he ever commands them." Prince Osric looked down, ashamed of his former, quick pride and anger. A seed of wisdom, watered by service, began to grow deep within him. When they returned to the palace, King Aethelred saw a great change in his son. Prince Osric walked with calm focus and greeted everyone kindly and humbly. The king smiled but wished to test his son's awakened heart further. He asked Counselor Eldred to tell a new parable about leadership and royalty. The sage began the ancient story of a mighty lion and his cub. Within his careful lesson was the perfect mirror of the prince's own soul. "In a far-off, dense jungle," the sage began, "a powerful lion ruled by pure, raw strength. His cub was fierce but unwise, and often harmed the weaker creatures in his path. One day, the cub disobeyed his father and faced a great, painful loss and failure. He learned that without genuine mercy, great strength becomes only careless cruelty." Prince Osric listened intently, his eyes heavy with dawning, full realization. He knew instantly that the story spoke not of a beast, but of his own former life. That night, Prince Osric found that he could not find any rest or sleep. He walked quietly beneath the stars, hearing the echo of the sage's deep words. He remembered every simple person he had once dismissed with arrogant scorn. A quiet sadness filled his heart, yet it brought a strange sense of inner peace. He whispered firmly, "I must become the noble man my father and my kingdom need." The cool night wind carried his earnest promise across the silent sleeping gardens. At the first break of dawn, the prince quietly visited the poor quarter of the city. He listened patiently to the people's troubles and brought them quiet, honest comfort. He helped repair a broken well and shared food generously with the truly hungry. For the very first time, he fully felt the weighty responsibility of leadership. The genuine smiles of the people became his greatest, most cherished treasure. Counselor Eldred watched silently from a distance, proud of the young heart's powerful awakening. Days quickly turned into weeks, and the prince's good fame spread across the land. He no longer rode through the streets with fierce pride, but in gentle, steady service. The people began universally calling him Aethelred's wise son. King Ethelred's eyes filled with tears of quiet, profound joy at the news. He saw in his son the merciful, just ruler the whole kingdom would soon need. Counselor Eldred bowed low to the king, his sacred, lifelong mission finally complete. One afternoon, King Aethelred fell very ill and called for his son, Prince Osric. "My time is ending, my boy," he said softly, "but your journey as a king begins now." Prince Osric took his father's frail hand and wept silent, heartfelt tears. "You taught me to rule not by force, but by true selfless love," he choked out. The king smiled faintly, a profound, final pride shining in his tired eyes. Then, with a gentle sigh, he closed them for a peaceful final rest. The entire kingdom deeply mourned their noble, just sovereign, King Aethelred, but in their shared sorrow they found a quiet, certain strength in the new King Osric. He stood before the people and spoke with a firm, steady voice of hope. "My father's wisdom will live on in every single kind act we share and give." The great crowd bowed low, their hearts fully united by respect and enduring love. A new, gentle era, one of grace and peace, had truly begun for all. Years passed, and the young King Osric reigned with justice and deep, steady grace. He listened intently to his people and often walked among them without any guards. No single call for help was ever ignored, and no act of kindness forgotten. He built new schools, tended public gardens, and provided safe homes for the poor. Counselor Eldred, now very, very old, watched from a distance with a proud, peaceful heart. The whole kingdom flourished and grew like a bright, eternal spring. One crisp autumn day, the old sage called King Osric to his side once more. "My time, too, has finally come to a gentle end, good king," he whispered softly. King Osric knelt beside his old teacher, with tears in his eyes yet again. "You gave me more than mere wisdom. You gave me the true sight to see others' hearts." Counselor Eldred smiled faintly, his face lit with profound content. "Then my duty is complete," and with a gentle final breath he passed into a quiet, well-earned rest. The king honored the sage by ordering a beautiful temple to be constructed in his memory. Its marble walls were carved with wise words of mercy, truth, and patience. Children came there daily to study, learning both letters and gentle, quiet virtue. King Osric often visited, clearly remembering the deep lessons of his youth. He would tell the listening children, "Wisdom is the brightest and greatest light of any crown." The young children listened carefully with wide, wondering, innocent eyes. In every humble village, the people spoke lovingly of their just and gentle king. He walked among them without any need for guards or grand robes of gold. He patiently settled small quarrels, aided the sick, and blessed the newborn babies. His selfless, constant kindness became the kingdom's highest, truest law. The land shone with inner peace, like the warm sunlight on still, calm waters. Even the poorest citizens felt rich in both hopeful spirit and simple happiness. One calm, quiet night, the king dreamed of his beloved father, King Aethelred. The former king stood under an endless, brilliant, starry sky, smiling down upon him. King Osric bowed deeply in his dreams, saying, "Your love guides me always, father." King Aethelred replied, "You became all that I truly hoped for, my noble son." The warm dream faded swiftly, but a profound and lasting peace settled in the king's soul. At dawn, King Osric stood on his palace balcony, watching the sun rise once more. The palace glowed gold and rose, and the morning birds sang in perfect harmony. He whispered to the growing light, "Power fades quickly, but goodness remains forever bright." His heart felt light and free, his soul as calm and clear as the morning sky. The loyal kingdom below him glittered with new life and happy, true laughter. The noble legacy of wisdom continued to shine, bright and utterly unending. Years later, the story of King Osric became a treasured, gentle tale for all children. It taught them that true, lasting strength lies only in mercy and great wisdom. Parents would whisper it to their sons and daughters before their gentle, peaceful sleep. The kingdom forever remembered the noble, kind heart that had once reigned with love. Above his simple, honored tomb, the wise words were finely carved. He ruled by love, and so the precious peace endured, bright and lasting as the endless blue sky above them.
Don't forget to share, like the video, and subscribe to the channel.